Thank you for joining the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the Hangout, Southern leaders reject breakup of Nigeria. Businesses grounded as power supply drops to 4.5 hours daily. And later on the program, Boko Haram attacked University of Maiduguri, killed 16. We'll be hanging out with Babajide Otitoju, Mustafa Ogunshaki, and Jomi Olomofe. So if you're ready, let's do this now. The call for the disintegration of Nigeria is really assuming a disturbing crescendo. Hate speeches are spewing from different parts of the country, and it appears that the door by the day is near. This frightening development has forced the federal government to hold an emergency consultative meetings with leaders of thoughts from different parts of the country. But the agitation remains strife. The Southeast wants out of the Union. The North and the South are issuing quick notices, and the melody of disharmony is deafening. On Monday, Nigeria former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida reinforced the need for the country to remain together. On Tuesday, some leaders from the southern parts of the country supported the call as they dismissed agitations for Nigeria's disintegration. How safe is this particular union? Babajide?
I think that first and foremost, we have to realize that there is an urgent need to address some of the major problems confronting our nation. And while I do not really believe that the fellows who call themselves northern youths should actually be taken seriously, I believe that some other, those matters, those issues that are making it difficult for us to speak as one country should be addressed. But I want to agree with Africa's richest man, Dangote, who said that those guys were a bunch of jobless people who should never have been given the attention that Nigerians have given them. In fact, he said some guys who have no relevance and values came out to issue a warning that Igbo should leave the north. I'm surprised everybody started talking about this nonsense. That's Dangote speaking. We understand why they are angry, but they cannot justify their anger when they have decided not to work. So that's the way he has described Shetima and his group of Rabu Rauza, attention-seeking individuals who are pretending to be speaking for the North, when in actual fact, they do not even speak for their families. So these are the tension that they have created in the land. I agree absolutely with Dangote that the tension is thoroughly unnecessary. And if they had been ignored from the beginning, especially by the media, that ought to have even asked from where they got the legitimacy to begin to speak for the people. Look at the nonsense that they were saying, even telling traditional rulers and telling government to help them enforce, telling northern governments to help them enforce the quit order on the Igbos. It takes, someone suffering from dementia to begin to think like this. That constituted authority, governments in Nigeria will help you to chase Igbos away from the north. You can't really convince me that you know what you are doing. So for Dangote to have spoken this way, he gets solid kudos from me. That means he's thinking exactly the way I've been thinking. I said it the other day. I said, these guys, some of them already in their 50s, have no shame. They are calling themselves youth.
If you are youth.
So are you now permanently stunted? You cannot grow beyond a particular age? So you think that you want to become a youth forever when you are age mates with people like the governor of Kaduna State? You are still calling yourself a youth? When will you outgrow the level of youths? So they've caused this problem. There is tension in the land. Of course, we know that as Nigerians, we must come together. We must talk about those things that divide us. What these guys have done is to further heat up the polity and make it look like if we do not talk now, that something bad could happen. So that is what they have caused. And for me, when we say, okay, you issue this threat the first time that you are going to arrest them, the second time you said they will be arrested, and we've not seen any arrest. It is dangerous. I just saw another press statement issued by another group from the north, accusing Yoruba leaders of plotting to make Osinbajo president by all means. And I said, look, what is really happening?
Hate speeches.
What is happening? When are we going to make an example out of the rudderless individuals who are causing trouble in our land? When are we going to make examples out of them? Because these ones who just said this about Osinbajo and Yoruba leaders, who knows what another group will say tomorrow? We can't continue. We can't continue under this heritage of mutual suspicion in our land. Something must give.
Otuba, now, with the line Jide has told now, it's setting agenda for something. Another individual is in the southeast, is on bail, and he had conditions, stringent bail conditions. From what you've seen, I've seen videos, I've seen audio reports, and keeps talking about having a referendum to decide this thing before Anambra election, and the way, you know...
He has eaten his words about the Anambra election.
The way he has been going about it.
Because he wasn't, I'm sorry, just he made so much noise. He talks absolute rubbish about the Anambra election, that no, people must burn their cards. But the Anambra people said, no, it will not happen. We will conduct this election. We will take part in this election. Yes. So now he has eaten his word. So look, we are dealing with a jester who is on rampage. He's on the rampage. So in the fullness of time, people will identify him for who he is. He's not anybody's leader.
Yeah, I want to substantially key into Jide's lines of thoughts and reasoning. We must, however, understand that there are issues, very serious issues, staring us in the face as a nation. Perhaps efforts to address these serious issues are not running at the gear that some people think and expect it to run. Having said that, no person or group of person has any right or justification to attempt to lord it over the entire nation. This is a country that is still governed by laws. As much as people are entitled to, people have freedom of expression, people have freedom of association, but should not be at the risk of our body corporate as a nation. And I believe that your freedom of expression, your freedom of association should not also be at the peril, or should be in a way that puts at jeopardy the cumulative interest of a diverse section of the population of this country. I think, as we have said on this program before now, the fellows in the north, Shetima and his gang of court jesters, really need to understand that this is a country with laws. And they need to understand that nobody has given them any such authority to take decisions on behalf of the people of Nigeria, or on behalf of the people of the north, for that matter. The issues confronting us must be looked at. These are issues of inequity, issues of protracted justice delivery system, issues of all manners of governance issues, no doubt. They, however, must be pursued legitimately and constitutionally, not at the whim of, a group of persons who, like people have said, Aliko Dangote had aptly described them for what they are, jobless people who have refused to work because they can get, I believe that Shetima and his group can get gainful, useful leverage if they decide to go the legitimate constitutional way to look at the issues confronting us.
Mustafa?
Yeah, I'm very happy that a person of the caliber of Alhaji Aliko Dangote has come out to say this. I think it carries some weight. But beyond that is the fact that no matter if we call these guys jesters till tomorrow, I think we still have to take the issue of their threat seriously. Just as we should take the issue of the threat that Kanu or whatever he calls himself, he's posing to the country. You know, like Mr. Lomove said, that we have laws in this country. And we have laws that border us on tracing. Kanu, more than anybody else, should have known that what he's doing is contrary to the bail that he got. So, if you see, the mutual suspicion is getting to a point that people are very afraid, and that is the truth. You see, Dangote, it is easy for Dangote to be here or to be in London or anywhere in the world where it could be to say, this thing is not right. But when the time comes, will it be on the ground? What is going to happen to the people that are on the ground? Don't forget the issue of Almajiris. We know how these people operate. You understand what I'm saying? So I think it is time for government to take the bull by the horn and get these people to obey the laws. Otherwise, we don't have a government.
By reining them in?
By reining them in. See, if as a judge, a person comes to make an accusation against you in your court, you will put him in the dock and you send him to jail. That's how things are done. Nobody can be threatening other people in this country. Do you know what the issue, although we are still coming to that, but do you know what the issue of Boko Haram has caused this country? How many people have been able to go to the Northeast to say that they want to go and do business? When even their leadership have left the place and they come, you see, within the Nigerian people, we don't have a problem. Whether you are Hausa or Igbo, it doesn't matter to anybody. I saw something that was very instructive this Salah break. I went home to visit my mom. And when I got home, it was on Salah day, on the Monday of Salah day, I met 2 and 3 young Hausa boys that came to visit her. Now, my mother is about 78 years old. And my mother said that these are my children in the market. They are Hausa guys, they know they are not at home, but they know where to come and eat the Salah food. And they were not afraid. They I felt so proud that I even gave them money.
Ought to be.
Yes, that is how this country ought to be.
They are one now.
So, ordinarily, it is the leadership of our people, the people of this country, that are causing this problem. And they must be reigning.
As we wrap up on this now, when we look at the efforts by the federal government so far to make sure to address this, because somebody like Yerima Shetima is still saying it is in his house, and he's saying, he even promised me that he was coming to Lagos. He said nobody has called him to tell him to come and speak with the police. He still said his number is not going. Yerima Shetima. He said he's coming to Lagos. He even promised me that he was going to speak to me when he comes to Lagos.
He feels confident enough.
That is what he wants. You see, the thing is, he comes across like a social climber. That is what he wants. He has succeeded in drawing attention to himself. So when journalists call him, he will see himself as a VIP. That is what he wants. When you are calling him, I want to talk to you, this and that, he now sees himself as a marquis. That is what he wants. He's achieving his aim. He's achieving his aim already. That's what Dangote said, that these guys merely wanted to draw attention to themselves. And they also know the sensitivity, they understand the sensitivity of our country, that it is possible that when you now go and grab him now, some people will start fighting in the north. That's what he wants.
I have Ibrahim. Ibrahim is calling us. Okay, Ibrahim, that line dropped. So
that's what he wants. He knows now that if they arrest him now, it could lead to some trouble in the north. That is what he wants, and then it will become another unlikely. Because in fact, Kanu now is playing the role. He has assumed the status of a political prisoner.
Exactly.
Yes,
He's trying.
Look, before Kanu was detained, did he have the kind of support that he had now? That he has now? That people are going to him. They are now literally worshiping him. You know, he's a Jew in his own country. He's already a Jew here, a Jewish leader in Nigeria, a Jewish leader in Nigerian skin. That's what Kanu is. So why wouldn't a Shetima or whoever, whatever he calls himself, not want to be like that? Because if you listen to them, they are saying that, oh, because Kanu did this, that's why we are doing this.
The danger in this matter. This is how all these warlords, that's how they start. And that's why the country, the governments must need this thing in the board appropriately.
All right,
that's what those leaders are saying.
Okay, moving on now. One of the unfulfilled dreams of Nigeria as a country is the provision of stable electricity supply for its citizens. For decades, the federal government has spent billions of naira and has developed, tons of paperwork to provide darkness. Not many Nigerians have been so lucky to have 18 hours power supply in a week. 18 hours in a week. In fact, let statistics from the Independent Energy Watch initiative indicates that the average daily supply of electricity across the country may have dropped to all-time low of 4 hours 30 minutes per day. You're lucky if you have 4 hours 30 minutes per day.
I'm not getting 4 hours.
Nigerians are suffering. Businesses are dying and electricity bills are rising. Now, for more than 30 years, Nigeria has consistently failed to fix just a section of its economy. Will the power sector ever work? Ever work the way it is? Mustafa, let me start from you.
As a matter of fact, I was going to say, where did you get this, your 4 hours, 30 minutes?
Because I don't have 4 hours.
Because I don't see
Maybe as a resident, I don't have 4 hours. I don't have 4 hours also.
So they say 4 hours, 30 minutes.
That is the problem with statistics in Nigeria.
That cannot be true.
4 hours out of 24 hours.
I will be lucky. Look, I'm telling you, I will be lucky if I get it for 30 minutes to pump water on a daily basis. And at the end of every month, they bring a bill of not less than 3,000, 4,000 naira for me.
Okay, is the average statistic after the accumulation across the country?
I'm even sure even that one can be correct.
You can talk about areas where maybe these IPPs work. But for the rest of us that lives where the people live,
where do you stay, Mustafa? You can't get 4 hours a day.
I stay in the Ipaja side.
Oh, okay.
I don't stay in Ikoyi.
I
know you say VGC. So I mean, talking seriously now, I don't know, but I think the issue of electricity is not as difficult as it has become in this country. But for our people not to be able, I mean, the leadership of this country have not been able to take a decision. I mean, all what we have been seeing is politics. And I want to say that with all respect to the acting president, just before the swearing in, this issue of, I was in a gathering where the issue of this electricity came in. And the acting president, as vice president, he said, this is not rocket science now. There's so much, the leadership so much believed that within a year, they will be able to fix the issue of electricity.
Was it not Fashola that said it?
No, not even Fashola. I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about.
Said it doesn't take rocket science.
Made his own comment along those lines.
I said even the.
By that time,
and he called some people back to where because they cannot give.
APC,
by the way,
they were packaging the thing.
Ayo, today is Fashola's birthday. So
okay.
let's
just respect him.
Let's not.
No, we need to.
Let's leave him alone.
Okay.
We talk about power. We can talk about power.
And why
on his birthday, it will be most distasteful because I know you people. It will be most distasteful. It will be most distasteful. October is here. You know who it is. It's his birthday, so let's.
Okay, you are talking about the vice president.
You know, he so much believed that the issue of electricity could be fixed within a reasonable time. I'm sure of that. But I know that by now, you he will have another thing that this is beyond what he
We've
thought.
always had that. We've always
You know,
had that. If you remember late Bola Ige, you know, the late Bola Ige
you-
said,
fix NEPA.
Do you even know the beauty of it? When Lagos did IPP, the first IPP that Lagos did
2001.
in 2001, it was this same Bola Ige
Yeah.
that stopped it.
Yeah.
And the attorney general that worked on it then is
Was
the
Yomi
president
Osinbajo.
Yemi Osinbajo.
Yes.
Well,
You know what I mean? It was, everybody was so bitter. How could it be that Bola
As
Ige
that
was
time,
this?
the law,
So,
the law,
so you
no,
can
the
now
law,
see,
the law,
you cannot see that when it gets to the federal issue, I mean, there is another kettle of fish
I'm telling you,
entirely.
it's almost intractable.
That's part of the restructuring that people are talking about.
Yeah.
Because if the law places electricity on the
Exclusive list.
Exclusive.
there's
federal
nothing you can
government.
do about
You
it
see,
without violating the constitution.
Yes.
Ayo, my own take is
Even
this.
the issue of national grid.
Honestly,
It
that's
doesn't
part
even
of
have-
that's part of.
My take is this on this issue of power supply. You know, when Jide does not want us to take too hard a swipe at Fashola, but
It's his birthday.
but I'm
It's
constrained. I'm
he closed
constrained.
54 today.
I'm constrained to say
He
that
closed
when
54
Fashola,
today.
2 years.
When
It's
this-
just 2
you
years.
remember
in the
Let's
saddle.
honor
Let's
our
talk about
gentleman's
previous,
agreement.
exactly when this same
Otumba,
Fashola-
let's honor our gentleman's agreement.
Okay, but again,
leave
let's say,
Fashola
now,
alone.
let's say that our country has a way of demystifying some of its bests. You know, coming in from another
I hope
route.
you are not referring
Coming
to
from another route. Because I have asked severally, repeatedly, why does a person need to kill himself with a body by carrying a burden he does not need? Look, power.
what if the burden
Power-
was placed on him?
Power supply,
When did
power
they ask for
generation,
it?
power distribution is not as mystical as Nigerian government
say
at the
when we're
center.
outside.
Listen, Ayo, Nigerian government at the center. I think they just unduly, unnecessarily heightening people's hardship by the approach to management of power supply.
Okay.
Why
let me pick Oluwafemi. Oluwafemi is calling us from Lagos.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I'm enjoying your program so much. Thank you very much for picking this topic.
Okay.
I will tell you that in
Does it get 4 hours?
Ilepo, where do you stay? Where?
No lights.
In Okeodo.
Okeodo. Oh no,
light
no,
at all.
like
I didn't want
Okeodo.
to.
You to listen to what you're saying. Okeodo.
Okeodo.
It's not.
And you want to have light.
you want to have light. You don't stay in
Maybe
Parkville,
when you
eh?
move to Isaleodo,
Thank you, Femi. It's just on the lighter
you won't
note.
have light.
So, Ayo, what I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make is that why does the federal government insist on holding on to, in the name of exclusive list and what have you, issues that they appear not to have the capacity to resolve?
Those are constitutional issues.
Yes,
They
why
can't
would-
on their own give it up.
Why
Let's
would
amend the constitution.
exactly?
That's
Why
part
would
of
why
part of
would
what
the
restructuring
restructuring? Yes, the
that we are
restructuring
talking
we are
about.
saying.
You know that I even strongly believe now that there are people, very powerful people, that are profiting from this issue of electricity to the detriment of
Oh, no
Nigeria.
That has
doubt.
always been the belief.
Oh, no doubt.
We don't know how true that is. But
Well, the thing is, whatever it is, if you look at even your generating capacity, you
because I want
compare
us just to
yourself-
speak technically now.
Yeah, you compare yourself to other countries of the world. The most that under the present system, the most that we can generate is 10,000 megawatts. I'm hearing that we can generate 60 by 2050. We will generate 60,000 megawatts. And
I'm
all
tired of
those
hearing
funny
of these statistics.
statistics that do not mean anything at the end of the day.
And when we generate it, can we distribute?
No, that's what I'm saying. That okay, you can generate at installed capacity. You can generate 10,000 megawatts. That is what they tell us. The minister, other people, they tell us. But we are struggling to generate even 5,000 megawatts.
4.
We are doing 4,000, 2,000 sometimes, and system failures are common.
Honestly,
So
to zero.
when system failure, there was the time that it came to zero. Now, when system failures are common under the present system, how can you be talking about 10,000 megawatts, talking about 60,000 megawatts? Even when you generate 10,000 megawatts, you cannot evacuate what you have generated.
We don't have the capacity.
We don't have the capacity to evacuate what we have generated.
Break it down, Jide.
We have. It means when I'm talking about the transmission. Look at the equipment. The equipment are obsolete. You don't have enough transmitters. You don't have enough transformers. Transformers. You don't have enough transformers. How do you distribute? How do you distribute? So the transmission company of Nigeria can actually generate. The GENCOs can generate much more than they are generating. No. But you must transmit. So it's like a relay. If the generating companies do their bit, they have gas supply, although they have problem of gas supply. If they have sufficient gas supply and they are able to generate at installed capacity, the challenge will be evacuating.
Even these days.
So how do you evacuate with obsolete equipment? The transmission company of Nigeria will tell you that because they have problems of access to foreign exchange, they cannot even bring in spares. They can't bring in the equipment that they need.
State of the art and updating what they have.
In most communities, you see transformers overloaded. That's part of the problem.
Sparking.
So you need to invest so much on the transmission equipment. You need to invest so much. That's how you will be able to now evacuate what the GENCOs have generated. Then we'll come to even the distribution.
Even the discos.
The discos are a problem on their own. Someone was telling me that in my area, that they've discovered that a lot of us don't pay NEPA bills. And when, I say NEPA bill, we are so used to NEPA, PACN bills. If we do not pay, and they cut our electricity supply, as soon as the staff of those distribution companies turn their backs on us, they'll bring someone to climb the ladder.
Yes, now
and
that's the trade-off.
And reconnect themselves. So
they've
now made up their minds. Okay, if people do not pay regularly in this area, then we do not need to give them electricity.
Okay, everybody go on blackout.
So what they just do is where they can give you 4 hours a day, they would rather give you 1 hour.
Okay,
Mustafa, it's part of the problem.
Just hold your thought there. Let me just go on this break. When we come back, it's very, very interesting. This is a topic that has to do with, the jugular of this country in terms of economy and everything. So let me take for this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back. Stay with us. I think I would like to get feedback from you all.
Yes.
So from all around the country.
They're getting more than 4 hours.
Yes, because we're told that once it's rainy season and the water level is high. Yes, so for the hydro power plant,
it's not happening now.
Yes, that you get maximum supply. And
actually, at this time of the year, we should actually have more electricity.
It's not happening
Because it's raining now.
Yes.
In my area, they make sure they bring it around 2, 3 a.m. when it's absolutely as unuseful to you.
And the
But
daytime,
whether you like it or not,
It's a favor.
you have to
It's
come
in the daytime
out
they will give
and
other
pump water. That's what
they don't need you to
They call
use
it load shedding.
That time they will give some other people.
Okay.
Probably people where they are sure that they will get more money, they get paid more, you know, in those areas. That's what they are saying.
Okay, this is blackmail.
Let me hear from Nelson is calling us from Edo State. Thank you for joining us, Nelson.
Good evening.
Good evening, Nelson.
I'm really enjoying your program, and I want to say thank you for the enlightenment of your program to all Nigerians.
Thanks.
Thanks, Nelson.
And I want to speak on the issue of power.
Yes. Why are you staying in Edo State?
I'm calling from Benin City.
Benin City. All right.
Yes.
Do you have 24 hours there?
Do you have?
I want to speak on the issue of power.
Okay.
As long as we still see stores, people selling generators, as long as there are still generators in the market, I can bet you that there are people that are benefiting from this. Those people supplying generators, they will always lobby their way to make sure that power will always be a failure in this country. And as long as there is power failure, there is bad roads, there is no good health care facility, the leaders, when they are campaigning, they will have these things to campaign with. That is why our politics in Nigeria, you can see our politics is so cheap. Because you can really just come out and say, oh, I will give you good road. What about if there is good road, there is power, there is all these basic amenities? You can see that people that are aspiring to
Thank you, Nelson.
leadership.
Thank you, Nelson.
I think this story is already worn out. That is the people selling generators.
Can we all afford to buy generators?
This is not even true.
So
in
many
a
people
situation where you have these generation companies, GenCos, are not paying their gas suppliers, and you expect them to continue to have
Nigerians, they don't have the scientific excuse.
You see,
right now you are giving the facts now.
What is happening.
That's part of our responsibility.
At Intos capacity now, EGME should be doing, EGME alone should be doing 2,200 megawatts of electricity a day.
Okay.
At installed capacity, Kainji should be doing 700 a day.
That's 2,000.
Because
2,900.
Because under Goodluck Jonathan, EGME's capacity was boosted because they created what you call something like they built an extension to it and then increased the capacity in the process. But the problem of gas supply has always accounted for why EGME cannot give you
work optimally.
Yes, it's been there for so long. It's been there for so long, and that's why some people are saying, look, why not site power plants close to access to gas?
That happened to Obasanjo.
Even the power plants that Obasanjo,
they had to.
There is no plan to make them be able to access gas supply. As you are building the power plant, the people laying the pipelines for gas should also be working, so that at no time would they have this problem of insufficient gas. Because insufficient gas is one of the big problems that we have. The GenCos will tell you, and they are holding these people heavily. If today they are asking government to bail them out, it's because they need to clear some of the indebtedness that they have. So people will say, when we can't generate enough, people will say, oh, it is the
I want to look at selling
when these people acquired these federal government investments.
Yeah.
What was the agreement? Were they not supposed to invest in this?
You know how bad that thing.
They didn't know how.
At that time.
You know, well, Ayo,
Terrible deal.
If they didn't do their due diligence,
government will bail them out.
no, it's
They
even
built them out before.
Yeah.
They built them
if
out.
they cannot do it, let them have some. Because I'll let people that can do it for me.
Ayo, in my own gentlemen, in my own opinion, I believe that the matter of power, just like that of other critical infrastructures necessary for development, is still not pigeonholed properly constitutionally. You know, and until we look at the constitutional framework guiding the operation of some of these key infrastructures. We will continue to go around in circle, blame gas supply, blame Genco, blame Disco, blame, you know. So I believe now time is right for the federal government to look at the constitutional implications of infrastructure such as power and what best steps to address it.
Okay, let's quickly take. Ken is calling us from the United Kingdom.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for watching, Kendi, all the way from London.
Yes. I think you are discussing the issue of electricity. Yeah?
Yes, Kendi, it's a big problem in Africa, especially
in Nigeria. Nigeria.
West Africa, Nigeria.
Yeah, the problem we have with electricity in Nigeria underscores the need for state control of generating electricity in that country. Because we've heard so much about it and there have been so much problems. And it seems successive government at the center have not been able to resolve this issue. And I think it also calls to question the issue of restructuring, you know, either at the regional level or at state level. You know,
give more power to the states.
That is the only way we can do it, because the federal government seems not to be able to do all these things. So if states can generate their own electricity themselves, I think it would be better. Like in University of Lagos now, we used to have a power line there.
Yes, there was.
And that in that university, we don't have the electricity problem.
It's bad now.
When I was
they
there.
have now. They have now. I was still there today.
You see, they made a valid
Thank you, Kendi, for your contribution.
When those IPPs, you know, when Yaradua came to power, he stopped the power plants.
Yeah.
The projects, the power projects that Obasanjo just started, he stopped everything.
As usual.
In Kwara, the contractors handling the power plants decided to leave, but Bukola Saraki brought them back and paid for them to continue the project. They continued the project to completion, up to the point of completion. Now, the injustice in this is, rather than what Bukola Saraki spent the money of Kwara to complete, rather than the people benefiting from it
directly.
You now channel the
national grid.
What is generated should be sent into the national grid to provide electricity for people in Kishi, in Oyo North, and
neighboring communities.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, because it's a small power plant, at the end of the day, Kwara that should actually benefit from their funds being used to complete the project. They didn't really get anything.
It brings us back. It brings us back to the fact that government must look at the constitutional framework surrounding some of these key infrastructures.
Mustafa, I wanted to ask you that the economic impact is almost disastrous when you talk in terms of small-scale businesses all around the country.
I will use myself as an example. Due to this merger of banks, at a point my wife lost her job with one of the weaker banks, and it happened at the time that our children were still very young. So in order to keep her busy, I decided to do a cottage business by doing a machine that can produce ice blocks. The machine that we started with could produce 100 pieces of ice block per day. And I knew that because of electricity, I now went ahead, I bought a 25 kVA generator, so that it could, as at that time we were getting about 6 hours electricity every day, so that the generator would at least be able to complement. But the very day I bought that generator, the price of diesel went up from 90 naira to 160 naira. Now, those equipment have been there for almost 8-9 years.
The business will not be profitable.
Invested over £1 million on that. So if it can happen to me, you can imagine how it has affected hairdressers, welders, barbers, whatever little these people are making is going back. Is going back to buy fuel. Is going back to buy fuel. I can tell you for free that there are a lot of offices today in this country that they rationalize their because of this, because of price
government
of
secretariats. I won't mention names.
Yes. They can't.
Before that, you have a power supply.
Who said it now? Government house.
Government secretariats.
They will be rationing.
Believe me sincerely, I was there, and it is very, very true. There are times that even in the governor's office, there's no electricity, and the guy will stay there.
Well, the governor's offices are in
I've seen it happen.
They are not on another planet.
So
what happens to Nigerians?
Those are even people. That is why you have all these Okada riders. A lot of people that are tailors, that are welders, because they couldn't do their own works, they resorted.
Exactly.
There is a survey that the World Bank. There is a survey that the World Bank did. We showed that more than 70 million Nigerians do not have access to electricity.
70 million.
Another survey showed that in terms of electricity access deficit, Nigeria is #1 in the world. So
Nigeria is #1
in the world in terms of electricity access deficit.
#1 in the world.
Yes, we are also #1 in the world in terms of the least electrified countries. So it's a very big problem that we hope that our...
We seem to have so many people from the United Kingdom calling us today. Victor is calling us from London. Thank you, Victor, for joining us.
Hello?
Yes, Victor, thank you for joining us.
Yes. Actually, I want to commend TVC News. You are doing a good job because we live in England and you are bringing us home with all your program. Please continue to cover all the states because we like to see their picture, what they look like.
Okay.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Victor. I mean, Jide is in a position to reply that.
To note that.
We'll do our best.
So note that I work on it.
Traversing the country, working on that.
We'll do our best.
You see, if you look at the level of
we have to move on, gentlemen. We have to move on. It's something that we can even put on, make it a series.
Do it again.
We'll do it again. I know it's something that it boils down on this thing of Nigeria. Moving on now. Now, the way in the northeast is far from the war is far from over. Over the months, Nigerians have been told that Boko Haram has been defeated, but its recent resurgence attack leave much to be desired. Last Sunday, the terrorist group executed multiple attacks in the University of Maiduguri and environs, killing more than dozens of people. Now, last Tuesday, Boko Haram fighters ambushed a large convoy and, traveled, being escorted by armed soldiers and killed 2 persons. The bottom line, what we're trying to say here is that the resurgence is on the increase. It's a big problem in the north.
It's a big problem. Shekau has said that he has kidnapped police women. One thing I know is that with time, he will come up with videos. For whatever he says, you will see that he will come up with videos, showing that this is what I've done. I remember on December 25, last year, after the Nigerian Army took over Camp Zairo, he came and said, in the Akaporemo, that they didn't chase us, we are still in Sambisa. And the Minister of Defense, our Minister of Defense, has come out to say the boys are still in Sambisa. Long after we felt that we had taken over Sambisa and some of us jubilated, our Minister of Defense has confirmed that they are still in Sambisa. And attacks are still being carried out on the fringes of Sambisa, especially in the Dambua area. Dambua, Konduga area, attacks are still being taking place. In fact, the terrorists who went into the University of Maiduguri to kill people must have come from the Konduga area because it's along that route. And Konduga shares this thing with Sambisa Forest. It's very, very close to Sambisa Forest. So they always move from that area into to the Dalori part of town to kill people and all that. So it's such a big problem. And beyond even the use of suicide bombers, because there was also another incident today in Malai. Malai is in the Damboa area where 5 suicide bombers stormed the area and detonated their explosives, but they died. The story that we have so far is that it's the suicide bombers alone that have died. But something still bothers me. The way Boko Haram came into Maiduguri and they shot the video. The last attack, they shot that video, and our colleague in Maiduguri, Dala, he said, "Oga, can you see that the checkpoints were not manned?" So they had a free rein, they just entered. And these are things that they don't want us to talk about, especially me. They think that I hate the army. What I don't want to see is people being killed unnecessarily. That is just what I don't want to see. I pity the people of the Northeast, especially the Maiduguri residents. On Salah Day, Salah night, they got killed. Before then, there was an attack in which 19 people were killed. So this is not a war that has been won. I read the Chief of Army Staff saying, talking about the tactics deployed in defeating Boko Haram. No, you have not defeated Boko Haram. You have not. Boko Haram may have changed. Boko Haram may have changed tactics. They may have stopped taking over towns. But it doesn't mean that the terrorist group has been defeated, because the Maiduguri Damboa way that the Nigerian army reopened, they've now gone back to killing people on that same highway. They've gone back to ambushing convoys of up to 200 vehicles.
I don't know, but the worrisome trend now is not University of Maiduguri right now.
Yeah, Ayo, you
constant
see,
attack.
They want the VC to close the school. You know, they don't. The president of that school being open, the students are writing exams. They want the VC to close the school, but the VC is stubborn. It does not want to close the school, and the school is running, and the school is on the way to Konduga that shares, can I say, boundary now with Sambisa Forest. So they can always come in, and the school is not fenced. Oh. You know, I told you, because I've been there, there is no wall around the school.
Wow.
So people will come in through the back of the school, through the back, and enter and try to kill people. So that is, they just want the school to be shut. But I'm happy that in spite of their senseless efforts, the VC has refused to close that school, and academic activities are going on.
Yeah, for me, Ayo, I think it's sad, this worrisome resurgence, as it will appear. Talking about the University of Maiduguri attack, especially, you will recall that in recent times, quite a number of attempts have been botched. I think what that speaks to is the need for our military institutions to sincerely, genuinely step up intelligence work. We all know that insurrection is a very difficult thing to prosecute, but with consistent, consensus intelligence network, it will reduce the tariff. It will reduce the tally, pardon me, the tally of fatalities. The battle against Boko Haram is not won. I think it's misleading for the leadership of the Nigerian Army, especially the Chief of Army Staff. We had sounded cautionary notes on this program before now. Exactly, that you should be wary, you should tarry about celebrating prematurely. But each time he gets the opportunity, he wants to blow trumpet, and less than 48 hours after blowing such trumpets, things happen around the country. This gives cause for worry. This begins to make one wonder why and whether there isn't some kind of conspiracy going on.
Rounding up on this?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I'm aware that the Chief of Army Staff still invited some journalists to Maiduguri, you know, maybe to assess what he's doing. I saw his picture on the social media. It was all over the place with journalists and others. And I was wondering. I called a friend. I said, is this the media aspect of the fight against Boko Haram? That is one. Sometimes, about a year ago, a body of lawyers were invited to the same place, you know,
Packaging.
to look at what they are doing and all that something. And the president of Nigeria then came out to say they are not killing. They're not killing civilians and all that stuff.
The military is fast turning into...
And you begin to wonder whether this war is being fought in the media.
Oh.
Or Sambisa
like
has now turned into a courtroom where lawyers operate. I don't know. So I will urge the Chief of Army Staff. I know that he's doing his best.
Okay, let me.
But I will urge him to do more.
Let me
do more of the fighting than in the media.
Taiwo is calling us from Yobe State. Thank you for calling us, Taiwo.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Taiwo. Go ahead with your contribution.
To say that the military is not winning the battle. It's normal. We should appreciate the men.
I find it difficult to hear what Taiwo is saying. So, Jide, running off on this is a very difficult time to fight insurgents. It's the rainy season.
You can now understand why the governor of Borno State was warning that if we do not crush these boys before the rain setting, that we will not be able to defeat them until the end of 2018. When Asiwaju paid a visit to Maiduguri some months back, in March or so, he said once the president returns, I will go and beg him that he should do his best to send soldiers so that we can crush these people once and for all. Because if we don't crush them before the rain setting, there will be an escalation in the activities. That is what we are seeing now. They are taking on the military now. Before now, Boko Haram never attacked an Air Force base. But go and read about it. Recently, they attacked an Air Force base, and we are told that they can no longer launch military-style attacks. What is an ambush? Is it an ambush? Is a military-style attack? A convoy of up to 200 vehicles on the highway, and they attack the convoy with anti-aircraft guns and artillery pieces, and you say they cannot launch military-style attack. I was reading the fight between Boko Haram and Chadian troops. I was reading it yesterday, where they killed 8 Chadian soldiers. The president of Chad is now frustrated.
Whether this war is being fought in the media.
Oh.
Or Sambisa has now turned into a courtroom where lawyers operate. I don't know. So I will urge the Chief of Army Staff. I know that he's doing his best.
Okay,
but I will urge him to do more. Of the fighting than in the media.
Taiwo is calling us from Yobe State. Thank you for calling us, Taiwo.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Taiwo. Go ahead with your contribution.
To say that the military is not winning the battle. It's normal. We should appreciate the men.
I find it difficult to hear what Taiwo is saying. So, Jide, running off on this is a very difficult time to fight insurgents. It's the rainy season.
You can now understand why the governor of Borno State was warning that if we do not crush these boys before the rain setting, that we will not be able to defeat them until the end of 2018. When Asiwaju paid a visit to Maiduguri some months back, in March or so, he said once the president returns, I will go and beg him that he should do his best to send soldiers so that we can crush these people once and for all. Because if we don't crush them before the rain setting, there will be an escalation in the activities. That is what we are seeing now. They are taking on the military now. Before now, Boko Haram never attacked an Air Force base. But go and read about it. Recently, they attacked an Air Force base, and we are told that they can no longer launch military-style attacks. What is an ambush? Is it an ambush? Is a military-style attack? A convoy of up to 200 vehicles on the highway, and they attack the convoy with anti-aircraft guns and artillery pieces, and you say they cannot launch military-style attack. I was reading the fight between Boko Haram and Chadian troops. I was reading it yesterday, where they killed 8 Chadian soldiers. The president of Chad is now frustrated. He's saying that, look, he said he wants to pull out of the joint multinational joint task force. That yet once they are not even funding their efforts sufficiently. And he's saying, look, we can't be everywhere.
Okay,
we were in Mali. It shouldn't even be Nigerian government alone funding it, but the Nigerian government should actually drive it. But their concern is that the funding is not enough. That was the main reason Chadian troops and Cameroonian troops left Baga that time in anger, and Boko Haram came and slaughtered our people in Baga. So I don't know why the multinational joint task force, the friends of Nigeria, America and the rest of them, they should help with the funding of the multinational joint task force. That's why you hardly read about them anymore. Major General Adewusi, you hardly read about them anymore. But they are not funding them sufficiently. And if Chad to pull out, of course, it will make matters worse, because already we know that our border with them is very porous. So Boko Haram will now be able to control the whole of those areas.
I want to thank you, Mustafa Ogunshaki. I want to thank you, Otumba Yomi Olomofe and Babajide Otitoju. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow, same time, for another interesting episode of the program. Thank you.